Hello, all, and welcome to a Rant by Pirate. If you're seeing this, you're looking at Patreon. I used to be a player in Patreon. I kind of like the idea of Patreon, but Patreon kind of ain't the way to go. Let me kind of give you a rundown here. We'll do a little ranting. So this is my Patreon. I used to have a bunch of posts in here. Patreon, the idea is, and the little blurb that they give you at the beginning video is that you attract patrons just like in the days of old, days of yore. Everybody, instead of giving you big bucks like a single patron, people contribute little amounts to kind of help your projects along, help your artwork, your writing, that sort of thing. Great concept, horrible execution. So the idea is you bring people to Patreon. I really haven't seen a lot of Patreon generated stuff that worked for me, but so you bring people to Patreon, I show them my page, I attract them to it, and what used to be is I had different levels set up where they could invest a little bit each month. PayPal would automatically take it out, or excuse me, Patreon would take it out once a month. They'd extract a little fee for themselves. And then on each of these posts, I could go ahead and set up each post, each posting, so that certain levels could have access to it within certain time frames, and there were goals and all kinds of crazy cool stuff that made Patreon sound like it was wonderful. And it was wonderful, except about 6 months ago, we heard rumblings in a couple of groups about somebody they had kicked off the page just like unceremoniously, "You're gone." And she was a gal that was doing some filming of some illegal immigration into Canada, and some filming of some Antifa people that attacked her, physically attacked her. So she posted the video and there was no racist commentary, there was nothing out of the ordinary other than that this showed people being jerks. And Patreon said, well, you're not allowed to do that because that goes against our narrative, not our community standards, but our narrative. And they booted her. She was gone. All her patrons, the money, the income stream, everything that she had built up over that time, attracting people to the platform, gone. In an instant, a single click, she was out of it. So I kind of looked at that at the time and said, well, I'm not doing anything like that, so it really shouldn't affect me. And it wasn't naive, it was hopeful on my part. So I looked at that as it was going on, and I said, boy, there's got to be a better way. So what I did was I set up a parallel system to what Patreon does on my own website. And I did that on the off chance that Patreon either folded or some rainbow mohawk wearing feminazi with an attitude and a problem with something I posted. And I don't do a lot of social commentary. She, he, it. Bang, they hit the number, you're out, you're done. Then you're in an appeal process, you're on an uphill battle, and you're already losing ground because, again, you're on their platform. You're playing by their vague and ambiguous rules that they can apply at any point in time. So now Patreon, in its pitch, is like, this is about the artists. And I'm sure if I had, like, the Virgin Mary covered in tampons, they'd be like, oh, that's art. But what I apparently did, which was a cardinal sin, is I posted a story. Now I've altered it since then because I'm kind of mad about the whole thing. But and what it is it's a fantasy story about a hobbit, a halfling, and this barbarian babe that actually helps him in this fantasy adventure. This artwork is apparently, in the mind of whatever click monkey did it, porn. Because my entire site, all the stories, all the other artwork that used to be in here instantly got rated adults only. People had to prove that they were 18 before they could come look at anything. This was done in an instant. I tried to appeal, nothing. So her naughty bits are covered. This is mild Frazetta art at worst. It isn't sexually provocative. It isn't anything other than fantasy barbarian babe getting ready to fight evil guy, just like in the story, literally. Same outfit she wears in the story, literally. But broke some sort of magic barrier, and whatever perpetually angry person with a social program, bang, I'm instantly in porno land, or the equivalent of porno. So I went ahead and stripped down my site. Now, I know I know I'm in adult content because if you actually look up Tom Kenny, I don't even show up in the searches in Patreon anymore, even though I have a site. So I'm off. Well, I'm out of public view again for this picture. This picture, I'm going to zoom it in. This picture, this horrible, horrible, pornographic picture is the reason they flipped me to adults only, and the only reason they flipped me to adults only. With no trial, no conversation, no Jesus content, and me, by the way, not going into the rest of Patreon of the hundreds of artists that have posted similar fantasy pictures, Frazetta-like art. I did not go into Patreon and do any of that, and I didn't out them, and I didn't point to them and say, well, what about that guy? Because if they're getting away with it and some angry little, she's got boobage, side boob, showing person wasn't able to find them and get them off, good for them. But I'm not putting up with it, and you don't have to put up with it. And I'm telling you, if you lock it all into one particular platform like Patreon, you're screwing yourself. You're stupid. This is a business. You're running a business, whether it's your art, whether it's your book, whether it's your novels, whether it's your writing, whatever you're doing, you're running a business. And if you're in one channel and the control of that channel is completely out of your purview and you're at their mercy, your income stream can disappear in a heartbeat and you have no recourse. So, like I said, 6 months ago, as they bounced that other babe out of there, I said, I wonder what I can do. So I went to my site and I started looking for plugins. And luckily, or not luckily, unfortunately, Patreon has a WordPress plugin. I suggest not using it because, again, now you're paying them to extract money and they're not providing anything. And they really didn't provide anything because I drove everybody to that Patreon site, everybody that had signed up for me, and I didn't have a lot of them, but I had a few. I drove them all. None of those people came out of the woodwork and dropped onto me out of Patreon itself. Patreon counts on all the members driving other people to it. Those people look around a little bit, may spend a little extra money. Patreon's contribution is nada. I'm down on Patreon because, again, it's a little bit of a dictatorship, and I think that they've lost mission from what they said they were in their opening, which is, again, supposed to be about our artists. So what I did was I started looking around, and I looked for membership-based plugins. And after reviewing quite a few of them, and there may be more of them since, I think there probably are, I landed on Simple Membership. Now, Simple Membership I liked because as I was reading it, it looked like a good setup. Lots of people use it. It's not the most popular. You can see there may be others, and there may be others that may work for you, but this is the one I used. So I installed it and set it up. Now, this is the Simple Membership. Now, what I did, if you actually go to my site after it was installed, let me do this here. Open a new tab. Kill off that. You get some of this processing power taken care of. So this is my site. If you were to come to my site as a logged-in member, you would have access to stuff. So let's say I'm a logged-in member. I'm looking at some subscribe material. I'm going to open up the Oath and a Half. Bang, the story opens. I can read it. I actually set it up so you can't right-click or left-click. You can't copy my content because it is copyrighted, but they can read it online, which is kind of cool. So let's open up Google down here, and now I'm going to come at it as someone that's not part of the site. Oops. By the way, if you search TomKenny.com or Tom Kenny, there's maybe a lot of me and a little bit of a dentist guy. I don't know how the dentist guy does it, but he tends to get up in the threads there. But Tom Kenny author definitely gets to me. So this is now on Google. I'm not logged into my website. I'm just a guy cruising the web here. So I look at some of the content here. Now I may look at this Dragon Con Awards thing. Oh, hey, there were some Dragon Con books. And this comes up as standard content I can read. Oh, look, I can read the article. I can see the stuff. That's all cool. However, if I was to click on something that had been protected or requires a membership, I get a little notification that says, I'm so glad you want to read this, but only subscribers have access. How do I become a subscriber? Join the Pirate's Secret Treasures. Oh no, that's kind of a catchy thing. You should get excited about that. So I set up these levels where I have along for the ride. Kind of the bottom tier. It's $1 a month. It automatically withdraws every 30 days, but they don't have access to the content immediately. They have to wait 30 days after it hits the site before they have access. Kind of a second preview, but a lower cost fare or a lower cost tier. $2.50 a month, the bar hopper. They see everything right when it publishes. They can also download EPUBs and PDFs. I set this all up, by the way, in that simple membership. The graphics here, the links, it's all stuff you can set up. This is set up as a page. The buttons are pulled out of simple membership. You create them. When they click on that button, it'll take them to PayPal. They say, do you want to join? Here, I'll click one right now. Let's see here. We'll do bar hopper. I click the button. It says, all right, takes me to PayPal. It says, do you want to sign up? Notice the top here for a subscription. Do you want to subscribe? All right. So that's how you do it. It's through PayPal, $2.50 a month, bang every month. Next one, I set up Throttle Twister. These people get two entries per contest instead of just one like the bar hopper. I'm hoping to get some better things going on for them. If they want to donate more to my cause, I appreciate it, and I'll go from there. Now, the one feature that I do that Patreon cannot do, that Simple Membership does, is a 30-day one trip. So if someone doesn't want to sign up to pay every month and try to remember that to cut it off in 29 days because they're not really sure, I give them a chance to go look around my site, poke around for 30 days, costs $3.50, and at the end of 30 days, I'm done billing them. Now, they can come back in as a bar hopper or along for the ride or whatever level they're comfortable with, but that's a feature of Simple Membership that Patreon doesn't have. The other cool part about it is, since it's your website and it's structured your way, let me go ahead and exit out of this and hop into my own. The organization of the website and the ability of people to look around and see things is different too. Instead of having that long continual thread of Patreon where each post is in actual order. So the posts come up, recent posts, there's not that many there because I wiped them all out because I'm taking myself off the site. But the posts are in chronological order. There's no way to really say, hey, that particular post, I want to see the latest. Oh, wait a minute. Is that a continuation of a story? How do I get to the rest of that story? The search mechanism sucks. So if I had a 5-part story that I published over time, like I have my Manatech story, chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they don't show up in a row. There's no way for me to box them and organize them in a folder on Patreon. So people have to kind of poke around and remember where they last were, or I have to insert secondary links into the stories, versus my site where I'm able to say, oh, look, Manatech, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, there they are on my site. And the paid people can go in and look at them, and the unpaid people can't. A couple of things I've done as well, I set up an actual page that includes all my short stories, and the ones that require a subscription, I put the words subscription needed, subscription needed. So they can't look at them right now, and if they read the things that don't have a subscription, but then they want to go look at the things with a subscription, they can sign up for a subscription at the level that they want. And that, again, is all done with this simple membership program. So let's look at the membership levels. When you go to set this thing up, you can add levels. Now, let's see if I can zoom in a little here without messing this up. There we go. All right. So I set up these different levels. There's free. There's Throttle Twister, which is the medium level, the highest level, along for the ride. I did these out of order, but it doesn't matter. So I set these different subscription levels up. I can manage the content protection. And each of these is kind of progressive, and there's some great little videos and instructional things that tell you how to set it up and what you should do next as you're going through this. And one of the things you'll have to do is set it up so that you're hooked up with PayPal. Now you'll go to PayPal and get what they call an AWS key, a site key. And that site key you'll drop back into Simple Membership so that you're telling PayPal when something comes through this particular add-on, yes, it's legit. Yes, it should go to my PayPal account, and this person paying should go to my PayPal account. So it's all handled. It's all secure. Nobody's getting funky here. No one's going to rip you off. So I really like that. So here's some of the settings. So I can set up my payment methods. Come on, site. There you go. Generate a little code. That's the actual PayPal integration code. You have to get that all set up. And again, there's some instructional videos. I'm not going to go into that right now, but it's pretty straight ahead. Email settings. This is where I send them an email after they get in. Hey, thanks, you didn't complete your registration. You want to? Hey, you did complete your registration. That's great. And then there's a little link in there to come back to my site, and it actually tells them where to go and who it's supposed to come from. So this is all stuff you can walk through each of these screens. They're really not complex. and you can actually get your settings done. Now, to get this set up, and then you build that login page, you do have to put a EULA statement in there. I do a membership renewal page. I do a logout page. I do a terms and conditions page. This is all stuff that it prompts you for. I don't have the terms and conditions page here set up because it's actually on my own statement. So this is all the stuff you set up so that you can actually get the levels and everything set up so your users can look at it. You need to set up your levels first because after you set up your levels, when you go to do a post from then on out, I should have that backing music. So here's an oath and a half. All right, the post that ended up put me in trouble with Patreon. And hold on, you might want to cover your eyes because this horrible pornographic picture is about to come up. Boy, this is slow. There it is. It's porn. Oh, stop. So anyways, this is the post. This is the story. I'm not going to let you read the whole story because you're not a paying member. But it's really cool. Well, you probably pause it and read it, huh? I probably shouldn't have done that. Oh, well. So at the bottom of the post, you can say, hey, I want to protect this particular content and determine the level. And what I do is, for the first 30 days, it's these 3 levels. And then I go ahead and pop back in 30 days from now and let along for the ride on. Or if it's just a standard informational post, I go ahead and make it free right off of the bat to get people to have access. And like I said, I also have a plugin going so people can't copy that particular page. If I want to upload a PDF, I load the PDF or the MOBI file onto into my library. I have a link in there. People can download that as well. These are all this kind of standard WordPress stuff you can do, but this particular feature lets you determine which pages and which posts are protected and require membership, and then what membership levels are allowed to access them at any time. So you can restrict it whenever you wanted to. All right. Now the other part of this whole WP membership add-on is they have other plugins, MailChimp and so forth. You can explore. They got details about them. I haven't done a lot with them because it's worked so well as it is. My subscribers get through. PayPal gets set up. If they want to leave, they can leave very easily. If they want to stay, they can stay. They can change their levels back and forth. It's all really good. And it's done through WordPress. So the WordPress logins work for these folks. Very, very cool, very secure, really neat way to do it. And I'm now in control of my destiny. So I determine what content gets put out to my fans. I don't have some angry person in the back room in some obscure place working to their own set of rules, clicking and banging and taking out content that I think is okay for my fans because I understand my fans better than they do. It's on the web. If some kid comes in and looks at that picture and gets really excited about his picture, his mom probably ought to talk to him. But that picture's not pornographic. I've made the decision about what my content can be. My site's not X-rated. And I'm not at the mercy of a platform that can change the rules at any point in time or could come under the attack of some particular group that decides something is now offensive to them and gets you wiped out. So I'm going to suggest you deplatform or at least duplicate platform anything you've got going on Patreon or any similar site, and I know there's a few others out there, and get it onto your own freaking website, a website with your name that you control, that's your brand, because things are going to keep changing on the internet, but you better have a secure anchor set up where you can actually keep your stuff going because you're a business now. Whether you're an author or an artist, you're a business, and you cannot have your income stream interrupted by people with an attitude problem. So that's kind of the way I did it. I'm more than happy to talk to people about it. I'm going to post this on Facebook, and there's some comments you can actually do here on YouTube, which is great. Just so you understand, I ain't free. My time's valuable too. If you want to keep talking about stuff, that's fine. Buy one of my books. It's sci-fi, it's fantasy. Become a member of my site. Show me that you're interested in helping me, and I'll be interested in helping you. And that's about the end of it. And y'all have a nice day. Pirate is done ranting.